think we're okay, Sharon. I see both red buttons.
Yeah, it's getting there. It's still not quite, and we are live now. So you are good to go, Margaret. Yep.
Great. So I'm going to go over our checklist to ensure meetings are compliant with the right to know law during our state of emergency. As chair of the Board of Selectmen, I find that due to the state of emergency declared by the governor as a result of the COVID-19 pandemic, and in accordance with the governor's emergency order number 12, pursuant to Executive Order 2020-04, this public body is authorized to meet electronically. Please note there is no physical location to observe and listen contemporaneously to this meeting, which was authorized pursuant to the governor's emergency order. However, in accordance with the emergency order, I'm confirming that we are providing public access to the meeting by telephone with additional access possibilities by video or other electronic means. We are utilizing both YouTube and Zoom for this electronic meeting. All members of the board have the ability to communicate contemporaneously during this meeting through the platform. Public has access to contemporaneously listen, and if necessary, participate in this meeting through dialing the following phone number, 603-236-4730, by clicking on the following website address, www.watervillevalley.org, texting to 603-254-6708, and you can also use the chat box on Zoom if you have a comment to make. B, we are providing public notice of the necessary information for accessing this meeting. We previously gave notice to the public of the necessary information for accessing the meeting, including how to access the meeting using Zoom or telephonically. Instructions have also been provided on the website of the town at www.watervillevalley.org. C, we are providing a mechanism for the public to alert the public body during the meeting if there are problems with access. If anybody has a problem, please call 603-236-4730 or email townofwv@watervillevalley.org. And D, we are adjourning the meeting if the public is unable to access the meeting. In the event the public is unable to access the meeting will be adjourned and rescheduled. Please note that all votes that are taken during this meeting shall be done by roll call vote. Let's start the meeting by taking a roll call attendance. When each member states their presence, please also state whether there is anyone in the room with you during this meeting, which is required under the right to know law. This is Margaret Turner, chair of the board, and I am alone.
Hello, everybody. Rich Rita here, vice chair, and I am alone.
Mike Aronson, alone.
Okay, so we have called this meeting to order. The first item on the agenda is our public hearing on changes to the water and sewer rates. So we're going to open this public hearing, and the purpose of the public hearing is to provide information to the public about our intended changes in water and sewer rates and the rationale for them, and also to give the public opportunity to comment on those before the selectmen make a final decision. So I'm going to let Mark take over and show some information and talk about the proposed changes.
Okay, thank you, Margaret. I'm going to share my screen and put up some info for you. Everybody see the public hearing information sheet here? Yes.
Yep, we're good.
Good. All right. So we bill our water and sewer fees on a flat rate schedule that measures the number of water fixtures at a property and then multiplies the number of points associated with those fixtures by a monetary amount or rate per point. That's for all of the residential properties. Commercial properties are billed based on the actual amount of water that they use. Sewer rate, now that calculates the water rate, and then the sewer rate is simply 130% of the water rate. The current billing rates that we are using were last changed in July of 2011. As a point of reference, the average annual state water and sewer rate is $1,289.76 per year. We are here in Waterville Valley, the bills, the flat rate bills vary greatly depending on the size of the unit and the number of fixtures in the home. But on average, if you take the number of total residential units that we have and you divide it by the amount of money we raise per year, our average bill is around 25 to 45% of that $1,290 that is the statewide average. In 2020, our water and sewer rate fees were approximately $560,000. That's a combined residential and commercial number. The expenses last year for the water and sewer departments, including debt service, was approximately $686,000 combined for the two departments. So we had a deficit of $126,200, which were made up, that deficit was made up through taxes. Our projected deficit in the water and sewer departments this coming year is about $95,000. If we increase both the residential and commercial rates by 10%, we will provide approximately $58,700 in additional revenues. And that would take effect now for the first quarter. So the bill that goes out in April would be the increase of 10%. And that would reduce our deficit down to about $36,000 for the year for the two departments. So first, I'll take any questions, Margaret, that anyone might have on the water sewer before we talk about solid waste. Any questions on water sewer?
I don't see anything in chat. Oh, there's Jenny. So Jenny's question is, why not raise the rates to cover the whole deficit? Seems like a no-brainer.
We could do that if that's what the board wants to do. We can make it 15% and that would cover basically the deficit.
But we do need to go on and talk about municipal solid waste. All of
That's
this,
correct. Yep.
all of this occurs on the same bill.
And in also in answering Jenny's question, this is the first in a series of recommended rate increases. We're going to see what the actual increased amount is in 2021. And we're looking at potentially another increase the following year. And that's because as the new debt service comes online, we will have increasing costs. Right? So that is the other part of this. We're not doing it just in 1 year.
Hey, Mark, weren't we talking about a 3-year plan in our figuring now? We don't know exactly what it was, but we took it 3 years out to see where we're going to be.
Yeah, 3 to 5 years, Mike.
Yeah. So it's not just a 1 year this year, 1 year next year. So we just figured we'd do it gradually and see where the dollars fall.
That's right.
Okay.
Okay, so let's talk about solid waste. The town bills are residential trash fees on a flat rate of $5 per month or $15 per quarter. This flat rate fee is applied to all residential properties, including condominiums that have dumpsters located at their association area. Commercial accounts are billed based on a combination of the size of their dumpsters that they have and the number of times that the dumpsters are serviced during the quarter. All of our municipal solid waste expenses, including debt and transportation and disposal, totaled $342,000 in 2020. We raised through this $5 per month and the as used on the commercial account, we raised $117,600. So we had a deficit which was made up in taxes for municipal solid waste in 2020 of $224,700. And our projected deficit for 2021, again, to be made up through the tax rate, is about $195,000. So the recommendation is to raise our residential rate from $5 per month to $10 per month, and commercial rates by 10%. That'll give us an additional $77,000 in projected revenues and get our tax subsidy of municipal solid waste down to about $120,000 for 2021. Again, there are a lot of things at play. The rates may have to change depending on changing transportation costs and other factors, or if we want to do additional recycling, et cetera, which we're going to talk about a little later in the agenda with the Municipal Solid Waste Committee. Again, this is something where we could do this increase and then plan for future increases as well down the road. So we will take a look at it year to year during the budget process. But this helps at least get us started towards covering these deficits. And really, when you come right down to it, it's the same people paying the amounts. It's just how they pay it, whether they pay it in their rates for the use of the systems or whether they pay it through the tax rate. It isn't like we have a multi-town consideration here within our system. It's all coming from Waterville Valley. So any questions on the solid waste side?
Yeah, Mark, it's just worth mentioning that one of the reasons that we have not raised the fees in about 10 years, not on solid waste, but on the other, is basically that there was a period in time where your taxes were totally deductible.
Right.
And a couple years ago, the IRS rules changed and said, nope, you're limited now as to how much of your taxes you can deduct. And I think it's $10,000 in total for all properties. So
Yes.
We've been going along kind of walking the line between, do we do it through fees or do we do it through taxes? And as long as people had the unlimited ability to do it through taxes, we kind of erred more on that side than we did in increasing the fees. And that's how we got so far out of whack in terms of using our fees to cover the cost of operations.
Right.
Mark, just for the record, when was the last time the town raised fees on the solid waste?
That's the first time we
That's the
had
first,
fee.
right?
That's when we went to the flat rate system in 2014, before that, remember, we were billing all collections on the number of times a dumpster was serviced and how large the dumpster was. So this system of $5 per month has been in place since 2014,
Thanks.
and it hasn't been changed since. Now, the board, we also did discuss this being 15% as well for the water and sewer rate fees. Remember, in the next 3 years, another 5% per year was what we were going to revisit, with a total increase of 30% over the 4 years. So we could either do this at 10% or do it at 15. The 15 does provide almost all of this additional $36,000. So we could cover our anticipated deficit pretty much with this new rate.
Okay,
Now, the other, Margaret, the other option that the board has is you can either vote to make these changes right now, or you can vote at your March 10th meeting, at your next meeting. And the only reason that I mentioned that is you could potentially leave this video out there for people to watch when they had an opportunity. And if anybody wanted to provide input or questions to us, it would give people another couple of weeks to process the information. Because I know this is the first time people are seeing this information for a lot
Right.
of folks.
right. And Mark, we don't have that many people on the Zoom meeting right now.
That's right. Yeah, that's the other thing. So
Right.
that is an option. We don't have to send these bills until the beginning of April, so you could vote at the March 10th meeting if you would like.
How's everybody feel about that? Rich, Mike?
Mike's okay with it.
Yeah, I'm fine with it too.
Yeah, absolutely. So just so everyone knows, we're going to be closing the public hearing on this, but you've got still a couple of weeks until March 10th, when the selectmen intend to make a decision on this. So if you have any public comments, please, email them or text them or whatever, so that we have the opportunity to see those before we make a final decision. Okay. All right, so I'm going to officially close the public hearing, and we're going to go on down our agenda. Privilege of the floor. Do we have any privilege of the floor today from anyone? That's privilege of the floor number 1. Okay. Moving on down, approval of the minutes from prior meetings, January 13th and January 19th. All of us have had the opportunity to see those minutes and submit our comments. Anybody have anything additional?
Nope.
No,
Not, can I have a motion to approve the minutes as amended of the January 13th and January 19th meetings?
This is Rich. I move to adopt the minutes as amended for the 13 and 19 January select board meetings.
Mike,
And
I'll second.
thank you, Mike. All those in favor, Margaret, aye.
Rich, I.
Mike, aye.
All right, thank you very much. Financial reports.
Yep.
The expenditure and revenue report, Mark.
That's right here, Margaret.
Mm-hmm.
Any questions from the board regarding none? All of the departments are within. I do want to highlight, been going through with Sharon on our motor vehicle registrations. They are significantly higher than we had estimated. We right now are at the same point that we were at in April of last year. So we are well ahead on motor vehicle registrations. So we may want to keep an eye on this and discuss it following the March 24th budget hearing and make adjustments before we produce the town report.
Mark,
Right.
are commercial registrations due in January or December?
December.
Okay, so we have that to look forward to instead of that front
Yes.
load of it. The other thing I was thinking of with permits and all this, with all of the land being sold, I think we might want to up permits and fees for the
Yeah,
year. But we
we
can talk
may-
about that later.
Yes. Yep, that's a good point.
Uh,
Departments are all doing well. We're
Yeah.
15% through the year, and other than our solid waste is a little bit ahead. But everything else is on the payment plan as far as debt service and insurance and all of that. So what you're looking at is pretty much what we've been projecting. So we're all set.
Okay, Mark, just to refresh my memory, we have to wait until budget is approved May 11th before the employees see any of the proposed increases, correct?
That's correct.
And do we backdate at that time?
We do. We usually go back to January 1st.
Yes,
And
good. Well,
we have budgeted at the increased amounts for the entire year.
okay, just wanted to make sure.
Yep.
Used to be a March bonus, now it's gonna be a May
Now it's
bonus,
going to be a May bonus. Yeah.
hopefully.
All right, so there is an impact. We've talked about a couple of line item changes within the proposed budget summary. And we talked about additional revenues and how they would impact. These numbers reflect the changes that we have made. It includes decreasing the amount of fund balance used because of the additional revenues, right, from the water, sewer, and trash fee amount.
Additional proposed revenue,
Additional proposed revenues, right?
okay,
And so the bottom line impact is basically we have a reduction instead of an increase in the town budget. I mean, it's very small, 2 cents on the tax rate, but we are, these are the new numbers reflecting that
Mark,
addition.
that's with the 10% increase in water and sewer.
That's correct.
So if we decide on March 10th that we want to do something different with that water and sewer rate,
That will,
we still have time to change this for the annual report.
that's correct.
Okay,
And we can either, again, change the fund balance amount, or we can increase this number here
okay,
as far as the decrease in the tax rate.
all right. Well, I think we probably ought to wait till the March 10th discussion to decide exactly how we want to finalize this for our warrant.
Okay. All right.
But we're publishing the warrant today, are we not?
Yes, and as I wrote in my email, that's from town council because we have to post a warrant because of the election. That warrant has to be a complete warrant. You can't do a multi-part warrant. But any changes that you make as a result of the budget and bond hearings can be posted as a revised warrant
Okay,
at the sites.
all right.
Yeah.
Okay,
And it'll be a little confusing to folks if we make wholesale changes, but right now I can't foresee a situation where it's going to change substantially. It might, but I don't think it will.
okay. All righty.
Okay, so And this, you have your estimated revenue sheets. If you have any questions about them, just let me know. So I'll stop sharing so we can
Great.
get back to seeing each other.
Righty. Okay, I guess we're at department head reports. I'm gonna let Dylan go first. He always goes last. I'd like him to go first for a change.
Oh my goodness, geez.
Thank you, Margaret. I don't have much new to tell you guys. February vacation week was actually, I thought it was going to be lower in terms of sustained flow across the board compared to the previous years, but it actually, just averaging the days together, it was right on par within 2% of the previous 3 years. So February vacation was just as busy as it has been up here, even with the COVID restrictions in place. I don't recall if the last meeting I told you guys that the chemical feed pumps were all set. Those are all hooked up. We just need to get that well back online and flush some water out to get some fresh water moving. But other than that, that's all I have for you guys.
And we're waiting on that, Dylan, until the end of this vacation week so that we have lower flows, lower demand. We're trying to get that water to go directly to the reservoirs so that it can be up there and be treated more thoroughly.
Okay. All right. As I said, I'll feel a lot more comfortable when we have both pumps operational.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Well, if we had an emergency right now, right, Dylan, we could, in an emergency situation, return.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
It's just,
it is
just
fully
to our
functional.
comfort level to just flush, get some fresh water moving. Not that there's a ton of water that's in that exact well at this moment, regardless. It's not any astronomical amount. So worst case scenario, we could just make sure we extra dosed it with some chlorine just to make sure there weren't any issues. There shouldn't be regardless of that. But in an emergency, we could put well 2 online.
Okay.
And there's light at the end of the tunnel for well 3. Am I right?
Just time is the only thing against us right now.
Right.
Okay. Thanks, Dylan.
Hey, excuse me, Dylan, would you define time as the only thing against us on well 3?
Well, it's just getting the actual project underway. That's the only thing that
Oh,
we have
okay.
against right now is what I meant by that.
All right.
So,
Thanks.
Need a little less snow on the ground, I think. Yep. Okay. Brooke.
Yes, I wanted to let you all know that this morning at the WVRA meeting, the board voted to pay all of the venues half of what they normally would get. So that means 19.5% of rack rate versus the 39% agreement that is every year. We did have to adjust this to make sure the budget works for the year. And this is due to just less hotel stays essentially, and the resort fee that comes to the resort association to pay the venues. So all of the venues agreed to that with the intention of getting, being paid back that missing portion at the end of the year. So it's a conservative plan and it will go into place March 1st. It doesn't affect the rec department until the summertime. And we are also reducing the open gym portion that the town usually gets of $2,000. It's being reduced to $1,000 because we haven't been able to offer that service. So that is the agreement at this point. So that will have an effect on the budget. But again, we will know more at the end of the summer about whether or not we'll get that, other part of the payment for the boats revenue. We'll know more at the end of August, I would say, so that we will be able to adjust our revenues for October. So I just wanted to update you on that. We are having some programs at the rec department and some pickleball and some other programs. And it seems to be going well so far. We're doing a lot of our camp planning, trying to be totally ready and prepared for our camp registration to open on March 8th for our residents and taxpayers. This is a new thing that we'll be doing. So we're just trying to make sure that we are as ready as we can be for that to take place on March 8th.
So that's a 3-day, right? For
Yep.
the taxpayers and residents?
Yep, 8th, 9th, and 10th. They'll be able to register online and by calling us. However they need to. A lot of people are reaching out and we're trying to get everyone's accounts squared away so that everyone's ready to do that. And we won't be having registration open until somebody will be at the rec, available to take their call if they have a problem. So
Okay,
we are hoping that it goes smoothly. And I think that people already really appreciate the fact that we're doing that this year.
Hey, Brooke,
Okay,
Yes.
I'm sorry.
Brooke, I would suggest adjusting your revenues now, not anticipating getting that other 19%. And
Okay.
also, you might have to adjust your expenditures accordingly as well.
Okay, I can look at that.
Yeah, it's once they take it away, it's hard to get back. So let's see I would rather go in with a more realistic number instead of hoping that, that's going to come back. That's half of your revenue on boats.
Okay.
From the past.
I was going to go forward this summer with being open 7 days a week for the boats. Is there any opinion about that? I mean, last year we were open 4 days. And this year I was planning to go back to 7 days. I don't know if that hasn't, if it makes a difference in your opinion about.
Well,
the
revenue,
payment.
but also, are you going to have the same COVID guidelines you had with the life jackets, which, prevented, consecutive days on busy days?
Right. Well, we discovered that with the purchase of those life jackets from last year, I think we feel that we can stay on top of it with the sanitizing. So
I think with your additional time that you're going to be open, I don't think that we have to lower your revenues very much.
Well, what if nobody's here, Mark? What if we're sitting here and we've got Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and you do 6 people a day?
like in terms of revenue or in terms of staffing?
Revenue.
Yeah. I mean,
It's a hard thing. If you don't have a crystal ball to see.
Well, the
There's just
revenue,
got to be some kind of mechanism to manage it, I think, kind of tightly.
the revenue doesn't matter. The revenue doesn't matter until October anyway. Because
Well, if you're running a business when no one's showing up to it, and you're paying people to work when you don't need them, it does kind of matter to me.
well, no, yeah, we can control spending, but as far as what we're doing for projected revenues, as far as the budget's concerned and as far as the tax rate's concerned, we can control that because we can adjust the revenues in September and October if we have to. But as far as the actual staffing, Brooke and I can.
Yeah, no, that's what I'm pretty much saying. I'm just saying,
Oh, okay. I thought you
let's be
said,
cognizant of that we're making half the money
Yeah.
for the same effort. So even if we are packed, we're still making half the money.
right.
So it's a tough one. There's no real answer to it. I'm just suggesting we pay attention to it.
It is tough. And I did mention that it would be nice to have the board discuss it, by the end of August or September, so that for the town's purposes, we can adjust our revenues as we need. And everyone felt confident that we would know by then. Everyone also felt very confident that we're going to have a good summer because we did last summer right in the middle of COVID. And I think that there will be a sense of relief going into this summer with the vaccine out. So I feel that we are probably going to have a strong summer.
and even giving up this half of the revenue from the program, we're still going to get walk-in people. It
Oh,
isn't.
no, Mark, I understand all of the points everyone is making. I'm just trying to get it out there that we should be paying attention to this.
Yeah.
That we're going to have, even if we have a great year, we're getting half the revenue.
What numbers are we looking at?
No, that's the point that I'm making, Mike. I don't think that's the case. I don't think that half the revenue is what we're going to be looking at, because the revenue that we lose from WVRA is going to be made up by walk-in people.
No. What we're not communicating here, Mark, is if WVRA has a good season and all the boats are being used by these people that are paying half the fee they were paying, there aren't going to be boats for people to walk in. You know, I'm saying it's going to affect us no matter what. Because if the lodges are great and we're booked through the lodges, we're still getting half the revenue. You know, I understand we're probably going to be okay, but I'm just saying be cognizant of this in our planning. It's, you know, budgets are one word, but operational expenses are another.
Can we answer Rich's question, which is, we keep talking about half the revenue. What are we
Yeah, so
expecting?
let me address that, Margaret. So say we make $40,000 in boat revenue for the year. Approximately 10 to 12 of that will be cash. So that'll be people walking in. And then the rest, so we'll say 30, 25 to 30 will be Freedom Pass revenue. So you can cut that in half. So you're looking at a $15,000 loss. I mean, that's just based on last year or the last couple of years. That's I think fair.
I think we could up the walk-in cash income by 5,000. So you're really talking losing or reducing the estimated revenues by about 10. And I think that would be, because you're also going to get the true up. If the lodges have a great summer, we're going to get the true up. That's part of this agreement, right, Brooke?
That's right. And that's something we can't count on, like Mike said, but I do think that with all the venues, everyone, at stake here, I mean, I think the motivation is high to get everyone paid that missing half. So it could end up getting paid even more than what the normal payment which is what we get on a normal year. So I just wanted everyone to be aware of it and the possibility of that happening. But I think that everyone's pretty confident that we are going to make up that second half.
Yeah, to Mike's point, Brooke, just make sure we have a backup plan in case it doesn't come to pass.
Sure.
Yeah.
Of course, yeah. Now, another thing that this raises in my mind is the season boat passes, which, were very popular last summer. And I know that we wanted to keep that to a minimum last summer. Are we feeling the same for this summer?
What did we do last summer, Brooke? Remind me.
Sure. Well, the season boat pass is $120 for a family to, get unlimited use. And I think we sort of capped that at, I think, 15 or 20 season boat passes last summer. It never became an issue. And I think everyone just really appreciated it. But I do remember us feeling a little nervous about it, but that could have been just because of our limited days open.
So we had a limitation, but we never hit the limit.
Right.
Yeah, I think we were afraid that there would be no boats for rental by anybody if we sold the seasonal passes.
Yeah.
Given the limited schedule.
Yep.
So would the same thing obtain? I mean, we're looking at not a limited schedule then.
Right. So I think we should be okay with that. I mean.
Yeah, I don't see that number of people increasing that are participating in that, but you're going to have 3 days a week more than you did last year.
Yeah.
Knock on wood.
And we'll also be opening at a regular time, and having the spread. Last year, we did not open until much later in the year, in the summer. So.
And even the seasonal people have to schedule, correct?
Mm-hmm.
They have to schedule their time.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
well, everyone is walk up.
Right.
Nobody makes reservations.
Right. Okay.
If I may, Brooke, I just wanted to go back to one point with regard to the signups for the camps.
Yeah.
What was the reaction? Everybody pretty much okay with the rules, I guess, as you explained it to them?
Yeah, I mean, everyone that I've spoken with is really pleased about the change. I think there's a sense of relief that they're going to have a few extra days to
Right.
get in there before it's open to the general public. But, you know, honestly, we have so many people now. It's quite
Right.
possible that we could fill up our camps with just the taxpayers
Right.
and residents.
I was
So,
thinking more too of how we defined who belonged into what category. I figured they'd be happy that they got a first shot. I would be.
yeah,
Just
definitely.
the categories, that went over okay as well?
Yes, yep, it is, it's great, and it'll just matter, basically now it's just about if people are registered in our system as a resident already, or if that's something that needs to take place. So we just need to be ready on the phones on Monday morning, trying to make those adjustments if people find out that their account wasn't updated or whatever, so.
Right. Right.
We're trying to help the people by doing the background checking now so that we can call and make those changes so that they're ready to go.
Right. So someone calling up says, I'm the son of so-and-so as a property owner. We could deal with that.
Yeah, I mean, that exact example, Rich, is
Sorry.
really tough.
It's something we had talked about.
We're just gonna have to, you know, we know the people. I mean, we know a lot of the
Okay.
people. So I think that just having those conversations, we're gonna be able to make good decisions.
Good. Thank you.
Yeah, and one last thing is with the camp, the price of camp is going up $5 a week.
Okay,
Could you go up more, Brooke?
Um,
$5 a week is inconsequential. That's $1 a day, which breaks down to what, 8 cents an hour?
yeah, I mean, we certainly could.
When's the last time we raised rates?
Let's see. I think we've only raised rates once since I've been here. Is that right, Mark? Do you
I think
recall?
twice, but
Twice?
it hasn't been very, I mean, we do not raise them regularly.
No, we don't. I
You
will
might want to
take,
look at how much revenue you can get from a little bit higher increase in rates.
I know that
maybe-
that what it is with this $5 increase would effectively be about $2,000.
So.
a week,
No.
$2,000 a week?
No.
No, 2,000 total
In revenue.
in revenue,
Additional revenue.
additional revenue for the rec department.
So Brooke, is that increased rate already reflected in your projections that we're using?
No,
I
it's
don't think it
not.
is. Okay, so a couple of things. Let's do, last time we raised rates, you did a comparison with surrounding programs, surrounding area programs. Let's do that for March 10th and then talk about it. Is
Okay.
that all right with the board?
Now, the only reason that won't work is that the
Registration
registration opens
opens
March
on
8th.
the 8th.
I'm sorry?
The registration opens on the 8th.
Oh, shoot. Yeah.
So
Well,
why won't it work?
because you don't meet until the 10th.
We
Okay,
would not have
but,
decided the rate. Yeah.
but isn't her raising her rates up to her, not to us? You know, she's running her business and she rises and falls with the tide she creates. So,
We'll look at it and
but if
we'll.
you think about it, $10 a week is $2 a day, and $20 a week is $4 a day,
Right.
which is 50 cents an hour.
Yeah,
Well, are you giving some of your counselors 50 cents an hour more?
yep. 25,
So-
I think, usually. But, you know,
Yeah.
I wonder, though, the constant question is, we have a couple of different populations that we're dealing with. So I'm just trying to appease all
How much is
populations.
camp a week now?
What I'm proposing is 165 for residents and taxpayers and
Yeah.
178 for guests.
And we
Alright,
have no relief for low income.
Would you have
Not unless
scholarships?
it's a custom ask. I mean, we've never advertised anything. We do send people who inquire about it. We do send them to the Descenzo Camp Fund, which they've almost always supported the campers that require that, but we don't advertise any scholarships funded by the town.
something worth looking at.
What does daycare cost a week?
A lot.
Yeah.
Yeah,
We will take a look at it and email.
I can get you these comparisons
No,
before March 10th. I mean, just so if you want to take a look at them and we can make a decision over email.
No, we'll take care of it, Brooke, and we'll email.
Okay.
Okay,
Yeah, changes.
all righty. On to Public Works. Jim, what's happening?
Well, pretty boring here. Looking forward to a weekend snowstorm, and I don't have much exciting to be able to put forth. So unless you guys got any questions for me, everything seems to be going well on our end anyways.
is it my imagination, Jim, or is some of the roads taking a bigger beating this year than normal?
They're getting rougher.
Yes.
It's
Yeah,
no-
I'm seeing holes where I've never seen holes before, and I'm seeing significant holes.
Yeah, you're exactly right, Mike. And we're hoping that if the temperatures hold, that we can fill in a few of those in the next couple of days.
But what would cause that over other years?
It's just it's the asphalt's degrading. You know, we
Are
get.
we seeing more traffic for more people? More local residents, perhaps?
Well, the traffic really, you're in this time of year and you got frost heave, you got degrading
Sure.
asphalt with more cracks in it. Every time a tire goes over it, the
Right.
potential to peel it out gets higher and higher. So, and then melting water gets in underneath the asphalt and you get
There you
potholes.
go. Right.
But you're right, there are a bunch of them.
Yeah, another question, the new Miracle patch we started using last year, how's that holding up on the hole?
The stuff that we use instead of cold patch is working very well. It holds a lot longer
Yeah,
And-
that's,
and can be placed under less than ideal circumstances. So
Lots of
Good.
money. I have one question for you, Jim, or at least it's just FYI to all. I think you know about it, Jim. I got an email from a resident who informed me. I guess I'm, more than ever, and I am now the garbage guy. Who informed me that a person from Campton was seen on Sunday depositing trash in our bins. Were you aware of this?
yes, I am.
Okay. I just want to let the other board members know that I got such an email, so.
Finally, we have proof.
Yes, well, that's the point, right? At least
Yeah.
it's anecdotal, but it's a good anecdote. It's one.
I think
Right.
we need to use detente, Rich. You're experienced in this where we have to.
Or mutual assured destruction, maybe, and no, we don't go there. What's the status, which brought me to actually the question I had, what's the status of the signs?
Sign should be here this week. I've got her on my list to call. They've been on order for the last, I think, 2 weeks.
Yeah, it's been a little bit of time,
So-
yeah.
She said that she'd get right on them and give me a call when they were ready, and we'll pick them up and put them up.
Excellent.
Okay.
Well, see if that helps.
Okay. All right. David, Public Safety, Police Department, COVID update, what's happening?
Not too much on this end. We made it through mass vacation week relatively unscathed, so that's good. Of course, the regular busyness on the roads and at the mountain, we picked up, which is typical for medical runs and such, but overall, pretty good week. Working on the COVID update, you're going to see a number of us have been working we started just really ramping up the last week, providing vaccinations through the state. So many of our staff members, including myself and Chris, are working down at the Plymouth Armory and administering vaccines in our off time. All of that time is paid by the state. So we're going to continue to do that, whenever we can to help out. They're reaching out to us. And even a couple of the guys are actually going down to Laconia because the crews from the National Guard are doing every other day, either at Plymouth or Laconia and vice versa. And they seem to be pretty low on vaccinators and help at this point. So many of our members are trying to do their part and do our best and get out there and help vaccinate people. It was nice to see. I know Chris and I, Mark, and there's, other than medical positions, there's a lot of admin, observers, and things that they're looking for too. So filling in those positions have been great because we get a chance to see, we saw quite a few of Waterville folks there last Saturday. We spent about 12 hours there. So it was nice to see everybody, and I think they're glad to see a familiar face too. So
is anybody that wants to qualified to give a shot in the arm, or is that reserved to medical personnel?
That's reserved for medical personnel only. They will allow EMTs to do it as long as you take the Ready, Set, Inject course. And then they have to be proctored and have to go through the checklist to be approved. But AEMTs and paramedics are all set to go. They can start right off the bat. And they have a very good process there. It seems to be running pretty efficiently. So we're actually, once you do it a few times, you get in the groove and everything works out pretty smooth. So we did about 460 vaccines on Saturday at that location.
Yeah, they do a great job.
Another couple hundred on Sunday in Laconia.
Yeah.
Yeah, they do a great job. They're very, very professional. We'll check out how Londonderry compares next Friday.
Oh, good. Other than that, we've been just doing our regular department meetings. We got all recerted in high performance CPR last week and continue to do our monthly department meetings. But other than that, we're pretty status quo.
Okay. Any questions for any of the staff members? Okay. Just a calendar review. We have our next meeting on March the 10th. That's the meeting in which we will elect our chair and vice chair for the coming year because the election will have happened on the 9th. And we have our town elections, school elections, and school district drive-up voting on Tuesday. I think that is March 9th, right, Mark? Says Wednesday on the agenda, but I knew you meant Tuesday. And also the planning board is going to be meeting on Thursday, March 11th. That is also a Zoom meeting. Okay, new business acceptance of.
Excuse me, Margaret.
Yeah.
Do we need to set our election duties on election day?
Mark, do you have an answer to my question on that, or should we wait till non-public?
Yeah, let's wait.
Okay.
We'll
I
do
didn't-
election
okay.
duties at
Sorry,
non-public.
Mike. Didn't realize that. Sorry.
Okay. All righty. Acceptance of the hazard mitigation plan update. Everybody had a chance to take a look at that. We're just updating an existing plan, and all of our professionals have looked at it and said it looks good to go. So anybody have any questions?
So what you are adopting is the resolution that's in your packet.
Well, I'll make that a motion to adopt the resolution regarding the hazardous mitigation plan update.
And that would be my,
Yeah, Rich, I'll second that.
all right. All those in favor, Margaret, aye.
Rich, I.
Mike, aye.
And just as a note, thank you. Just as a note, all three of you need to sign that paperwork. So Sharon will have that at her desk because it needs to be notarized.
Okay. The other thing we need to approve is the COVID-19 relief election form. This is the form that allows our employees to carry over their health accounts from last year?
That's
that
correct. Usually the balance that they're allowed to carry is $550. This, if you adopt this relief form, that becomes unlimited for the next year. So a lot of folks did not have an opportunity to use their monies because they didn't have the opportunity to have doctor's appointments, etc. So all we need is approval to do this, and I can sign and date it.
Okay, so I move that we approve that. This is Margaret.
I'll second Mike.
All those in favor, Margaret, aye.
Rich, I.
Mike, aye.
Okay, great. All right, Rich, I think we're up to you, old business, the Municipal Solid Waste Committee discussion.
Yep, we've discussed this, I think, a number of times already. So just quickly, we had a discussion last week where several people volunteered for several positions, so we're staffing it out. I think at this point, and we looked at some of the issues, which I believe I sent both you, Mike, and Margaret, sort of a working draft I was using for a discussion. So we pretty much followed down that. And I believe our first meeting will be scheduled for the 4th of March. And that we will elect officers. I guess we'll first do we need appointment letters, Mark, as I understand it, since this is a select board? So I can present you with some names at another time. People have already asked to participate on the board. Wendy Rathberger would like to be the planning board rep. There are a couple other people, Eric, the Conservation Commission rep. Mike Capel has volunteered to be the chair. But I won't bore you guys with all the nitty gritty details. But we're still trying to fill out the business reps on this. Trying to get a couple of the local businesses to join us. So unless you want more, that's sort of the thumbnail sketch, and it looks like we've birthed this thing well, and it should be up and running starting the 4th of March.
Okay,
And one of the first things we'll look at, one of the first things we'll look at is whether we want to pursue solid waste trash increases in the out years beyond the amount that we're going to look at on the 10th. Whether we want to follow that up with some more. And so that I've already laid down that select board marker to the committee that we expect them to research that and provide the committee, the select board with their considered opinion on what to do.
okay. Looking forward to more trash talk, Rich.
My pleasure.
Okay, how about coalition community update, Mark?
Yep, we completed the interviews for the lobbyist position with the communities group. We have selected a firm to do that, and we're in contract negotiations with them now. That agreement for the lobbyist will be, the actual contract will be signed by the Portsmouth city manager because they're the fiscal agent for the group. And it's a good place. I'm glad they got the staff to support it, so that's good. But as far as I gave you also an update in the packet regarding current legislation. Looks like HB 608 has been retained in committee and will not get a vote before the legislature. SB 158, the Senate has not made a final determination whether that bill will come
Excuse me,
out.
Mark,
Yes.
could you just give us a brief synopsis of which of the numbers? I get confused by which number is which.
HB,
Yeah, me too.
HB 608 would take the SWEP money it would not increase the amount, but it would return all of the SWEP money to Concord for redistribution to the other receiver community school districts. HB 158 is the worst case bill that actually increases the SWEP to between $9 and $12 per thousand instead of the current $1.60 per thousand. So it's a significant increase in the amount. And then after increasing the SWEP amount, all of the SWEP money goes back to Concord for redistribution. So that Senate Bill 158 is the one that has the largest potential impact on us. So we will have to see how that goes. HB 504 or 504 was a House bill that is currently it's still actively moving through the legislative process, and it may even come out of committee with an ought to pass recommendation. That bill is taking the excess SWEP money, which is what we currently use as the state portion to pay for our school. We would have to send that to Concord, but it would not be redistributed to actual school districts. It would be used for low, moderate income property tax relief. So it would be distributed by Department of Revenue Administration to applicants across the state. Doesn't matter what town they're in. If they meet income and home property value limits that are in the bill, then they get a subsidy from the state for property tax relief. So
it's not designated to education?
no, nope. It is just using the SWEP money for property tax relief.
Mike Bell, you had a comment about yesterday's meeting not being very encouraging. What was that all about?
Mark, I suppose as you know, and several other people know, the commission has scheduled several, I guess, meetings when they are discussing what they have and why they're doing it and how they're doing it. And it was discouraging from several points of view. Number one, there were several things they said that indicated that they didn't always know what they were talking about, number one. But they were clear that basically they clearly want to move forward with taking the SWEPT money and redistributing it. And they didn't want to hear anything else.
Yeah, I would agree. I attended the commission meeting yesterday afternoon as well. I think Mike and I might have been in different, we were broken up into different pods or working groups.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, what was it?
Subgroups.
Subgroups, thank you. And so I spent most of the time, difficult for me, but listening because I wanted to learn because it was very, very complicated. I will say two things. One is there are towns that are really hurting when it comes to education funding. If what I was hearing is true, and it's obviously an issue in the state. It's just being able, people who don't have a lot of money, but their investment is in their property and they get very high taxes to fund education in their town. It was surprising to me, to be honest, how some towns are really, really suffering in that regard. Secondly, the comment I made several times, I hopefully reflected what I think our board, the select board, view of this is that, of course, we want to see equitable education provided to all the children of New Hampshire, but we're very concerned that, among other things, one of our major concerns that whatever comes out of whatever is eventually instituted we must have assurances that the money is going to education, and that we would like to see some metrics involved in this as well, so that it can be evaluated at some point downstream to see if this thing is working as advertised. So that was the main comment I made based on our discussions.
Yeah, the other thing, and I sit on the school board, as you know, and therefore I see a lot of information about not only our results from our statewide testing, but from other schools around the state and SAU. And the results of those tests are very, very different. You know, what we see here in the Valley and how well our students do is not true throughout our SAU, and it's not, absolutely not true throughout the state. And one of the questions that I asked that I probably shouldn't have asked it because unfortunately it couldn't be answered is, what is the percentage of school dropout? And they said, well, the state has a very low percentage of school dropout. And I said, how does that rate go from town to town? And that was greeted with universal silence. But I think that's a very important question. You know, obviously we see one thing here in Waterville Valley. I know from some of the other local towns, it is very different. But they didn't have the answers to that. And I know that's got to be available somewhere. But Mark, I see you shaking your head that it is a problem.
It's the same argument that we've been having since 1995.
I agree.
And they're trying to solve a social issue with money. And
Yes,
that's
and it doesn't
the
work.
bottom line. And somehow we have to convince people that this is not a money issue. It is a much more complex issue. So
You're absolutely correct.
you know,
And they don't understand that.
I just don't want them to ruin communities, because we've got a big impact here as far as Waterville Valley is concerned, but you're talking a place like Molten Borough or Portsmouth or someplace like that, where you're talking about tens of millions of dollars.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. It is. It is.
You know,
it was
Eye-opening.
yeah, it was eye-opening, but by the same point, it was eye-opening, but it was also discouraging because you know, my experience with everything is just throwing money at things doesn't work.
right.
And
problem-
that's their answer.
The problem that I see, like the House Bill 608 and the Senate Bill 158, when they're giving money to a school district, I don't think that those plans have any chance right now with a Republican-controlled House and Senate and the governor. However, something like 504, where you're giving individuals money rather than to the school districts, and you're calling it property tax relief, that's in everybody's plan, right? Lower taxes. And so I worry actually more about 504 than I do the other two right now, because it's going to appeal even to the potential donor communities. It's going to appeal to people in those towns. And so I think it has a better chance in a Republican administration than these other bills where it goes to the school districts. So
You
we'll
may
just
be
have to
right.
keep our eye on it. So
But I'm assuming that you keep an eye on it, and like I always tell everybody, you know where I live.
that's what this lobbyist is supposed to do for the coalition communities, because we all stand to lose a lot of money. So,
I'm always here if you need me.
yep,
We will need you next week. Put your garbage hat on.
get your garbage out. We're gonna make you special.
Yeah, you and I are gonna do a lot of trash talk.
Yeah, so, I hope so.
Okay, let's move on. The water improvement project update.
Yep, our wetlands permit application has been signed and forwarded to DES. There's a 60 to 90-day processing period for the application. No real issues in putting the application together, so don't foresee any problems with the application being approved. Specifically, this application is for the river crossing portion of the construction project to put in the new crossing for the new water line. So, and remember, that's a dual purpose line to both get water from well 3 to the treatment building and also as a backup for the distribution line out to the system.
All right.
So
Looking
this
pretty
is a
bad.
very, very important part of what we're doing with this.
Oh, yeah.
project. So.
Yeah.
So we are still on track to get this out to bid by the end of the summer, right, Jim? We've got what a, go ahead.
Yeah, last I heard from Joe, once they get the, hopefully it doesn't take 90 days to get the permit.
Yeah.
And then they should be good to go to get it out to bid soon after that.
Good.
We have to wait for a permit before we can put it out to bid?
Yeah, the contractors need to know that we have all the permits in place. So I'm also working with David Britton to get the easement completed by the time the permit is approved.
David, just for people's information, being the new owner of the land below High Country,
Correct.
between High Country and the river.
That's correct. Yeah.
Okay,
Future home of a dog park.
right,
Yes.
right. Okay, wastewater treatment plant project update.
Still nothing official from EPA. Nothing.
Okay.
Ready. They're continuing to work on the permit. They've been communicating with Dylan, just getting clarifying questions. And so we really don't have an indication at this point in time about what their timeline is. Still nothing.
Or whether they're changing anything from their first communication with us.
Correct.
Okay. Lovely. So the next item, the water sewer trash rate, again, we're going to be discussing that on March the 10th. And we are still looking for public input. So please, if anyone out there is watching this on YouTube or Zoom afterwards, please let us know if you have any input on the rates. Board concerns and directives.
I'm good.
Okay. Correspondence. There was something in the package we have to deal with.
Two pieces right now. The first is from NHMA, the annual local officials workshop. Those are going to occur in April and May. If you have any interest in attending either one of those, let us know and we'll get you registered. And then the other one is Kevin Roy's email regarding Bethlehem. Kevin Roy is the general manager of North Country Environmental Services, which runs, it's an arm of Casella that runs the Bethlehem landfill. And he sent us an email in response to Mr. Swan's email that I shared with you regarding the potential closure of the Bethlehem landfill. It is not, according to Mr. Roy, not going to happen. They have been talking to DES and DES has, and they and North Country Environmental have reached an agreement, according to Mr. Roy, and Bethlehem will continue to be available to us. So no budgetary.
2026.
Well, he's saying 2026 and I was talking a little bit to Rich about this, and I think reality is probably shaded towards Mr. Roy, but is between what Mr. Swan is saying and what Mr. Roy is saying. So,
Okay,
but I think it's definitely towards more what North Country Environmental Services has told us, because they actually have paperwork that they've provided us from DES. So I would think we're closer to 26 than we are to April of this year. So,
okay. All righty.
right, Jim? I mean, that's pretty much what they're telling you as well.
Yeah, that's correct. I mean, the whole thing came down to the state sent an ill-advised letter of potential compliance deficiencies to NCES. They and their engineers responded to DES. It's just that DES hasn't responded back yet. And so that's what got Mr. Swan up in arms. And
I really think the only thing we need to be concerned about is legal cases, because the courts can turn a lot of this stuff on its head quite quickly with a decision. And you know, DES is being sued about their waste management plan and their recycling plan statewide. And if the court, you know, rules something weird on that case, that could change the whole landscape. Who knows, right? So I
Right.
think that's more of a problem than DES and Casella having an issue. You know, because the courts can change this in a day. So,
All righty. Okay, we don't have anything else at this point in time. No privilege of the floor. Becky, Reggie, anything? Okay.
we do need to have you vote on the warrant though, before you go out of public session.
Oh, okay, okay. So
So-
all of us have had the opportunity to look at the warrant as amended. Does anybody have any corrections, additions before the warrant gets posted today? Rich, Mike?
No, just the comment you had, Margaret, are we doing it in the ice arena? I think the top of the warrant had,
Yes, I corrected
you
that.
did that? Okay.
I
Then
did it. Thank you.
no
Yeah.
other comment.
Okay. All right, so I move that we accept the warrant as presented for posting today. Can I have a second?
This is Rich. I'll second.
All right, all those in favor, Margaret, aye.
Rich, aye.
Mike, aye.
All right, thank you.
If I could get you to, as I wrote, stop in and get this signed so I can get it up, I'd appreciate it.
Today?
Well, I can't really post it without signatures.
Right, okay.
So yeah, if you can stop by or I can bring it to your houses. It doesn't matter. Whatever you'd like me to do.
I'll run over as soon as this meeting is over.
Okay.
Mark, I don't have a car. If you don't mind, if you want to, if you can run it over to me, I'll sign it.
All right.
Yeah, Mark,
All
if
right.
you can come over here, that'd be great too.
Okay, I'll run it over to you guys. Margaret,
Thank you.
do you want me to come by your house?
As long as you're making the trip.
I will. I'll run it around to you guys.
Okay,
Oh, one other thing, the contract for HEB, for the transportation
Brown
assistance
sugar?
program, alternative
Right.
program.
for the tax grant,
$5,500.
yep, we're gonna be using some of our engineering money for that, right?
That's correct. We have
Do you
about
need
80.
us to vote?
Yes, I
on
would
that?
like to, if you want to let us do that, that'd be great.
Okay, so what's the proposed amount again?
$5,500, not to exceed $5,500.
Okay, I vote that, I move that we, expend $5,500 from our general engineering budget for the purpose of, HEB helping us with the, TAP grant. Can I have a second on that?
Rich here, I'll second.
All those in favor, Margaret, I.
Rich, I.
My guy,
Okay, thanks.
Thank you. That's it.
All right, so we're gonna go into non-public.
Thank you.
Thanks, Reggie.
And
Take
that
care.
would be at 4:23.